Finishing a bowl. We need to start with an idea of what shape we want to do the bowl. This is just a sketch drawn in black ink so you can see it. And this is a slightly better sketch, but I've drawn a line to show you that that piece of wood there, which was part of the bowl, just needs to be taken away on a straight line. And I've got a measurement here, tells me where to put it. So I've done most of that. I'm left with a little bit here. So one more pass with the gouge should sort that out. Take that away. Last one. Okay, so now we've got everything except this little indent. So working out where we want to start that. Say about there, so that's going to be that point on our bowl, just curved up to there and away from there. So start with curving up to it, so come round to the back. Okay. Start round the top, and you're not going to get all the way in one top. So that's the bottom shape pretty much done. There we go here. Don't start there. Start away from your line. And push your guys in a little bit. Back out again. Final cut. Okay, now at this stage we're going to be starting the finishing process. And that really starts with the last cut of the gouge. I would normally sharpen the gouge at this stage, but to save time I've got a ready sharpened one here. Same size, same gouge, 3/8 long gouge, standard grind, nice slow cut all the way around. If it comes off the cut, go back beyond where it stopped and pick it up again. So it came off the cut there. Come back here where you know you're right and pick the cut up again. You want a fairly fine cut. You see the shavings are very fine and curling up generally. So extremely fine shavings. If they curl, it indicates a fresh, sharp tool. There are some lines in that which I don't like, possibly the gouge, so in this case I would change to a smaller gouge. This is 1/4 inch small gouge. I think this is sort of psychology. If you've got a smaller gouge in your hand, you tend to push a lot less. if you're doing most of your work with a 1/2 inch gouge, you could go back down to the 3/8 I was using earlier, but I do most of my work with the 3/8. So that's much better. There are a couple of little lines in it, but that's a much better finish. So now we go on to the next part of the finishing process. Turn the speed down, and we're going to do some sanding. So unfortunately there will be a bit of noise at this stage from the extractor. I'm going to start with 180. I would normally power sand, but I am conscious of the fact that not everybody power sands. So just normal hand sanding. Make sure you leave no sharp edge there. By working over the edge. Work your way round. I don't know if you can see the dust or not, but it's being dragged over towards the nozzle there. The reason we turn the speed down is to stop the resin heating up. Now you can see that there's no visible marks there, more the colour coming through. Just want a wee bit off that corner there. So if you see any faults, mark them. I'm not worried about the base at this stage. Okay. So I'm just going to give it some more with the 180. I don't really need to go any more than that. I've kept the shape nice and simple so that I can do this relatively quickly. Okay. So there's where the pencil marks were, and that's much nicer now. The base still needs to be done, I can do that later. Okay, so now we can move down the grits. So this one, 240. In case anyone's particularly interested, I am wearing a face mask. Still some dust coming off even though this is not new abrasive. And finally 400. Some people nowadays stop at 320, some stop at even 240. I've always gone right down to 400. Experience, habit, more than anything else. Doesn't have to be done that way. But we now have a nice surface that we can put a finish onto. Okay, so nozzle out of the way. Abrasives away. I'm going to put on chestnut sanding sealer, thinned with 50-50 with cellulose thinners. Chestnut, do not recommend thinning it, but I suppose we have all learned to thin it more for speed than anything else. It dries much quicker when it's thinned. I don't want to be standing here for 20 minutes waiting on it to dry. Leaving the brush in the bottle is an old trick I learned from an old teacher too many years ago to mention. I'm using plastic baby feeding bottle. Some of them work, some of them don't. The cellulose thinners affects some of them, they just melt. So be careful if you're going to use that. I did use glass bottles, but as you can expect, they got broken. Not by me. One person denied having broken it despite the pool of liquid standing under in his feet in it, but that's one of those things. Now that's dry already, that's why I thin it down. You could put another coat on, so rub it down. Bad habit maybe, good habit. Denib as they would call it in old time woodworking. If you put a liquid onto wood it raises the grain. Denib with a piece of web racks. which gives you a nice smooth finish, which is sort of shining already. Then quick and easy finish for everyone is to use paste wax. Again, a piece of web wax, an older piece, just to rub it on with. Don't put a lot on. If you want a lot of wax, put on 10 coats, 10 thin coats. One thick coat will give you a lot of trouble. Now I know we should be using paper towel here, or safety cloth. I'm going to use an ordinary piece of cloth, piece of an old t-shirt to be exact. Do fold it up into a pad which sits in the palm into your hand, not wrapped around your fingers. Turn the speed back up if you can. That's just sitting there, pressed against the wood. It is not being held, so it cannot drag me in if it gets caught in the chuck or anything else. And you will have quite a glossy finish. It is not a hard wearing finish, and it will mark if it gets water on it. Microcrystalline wax gives you slightly more protection against water. Not much, but some more. Rub that on. It will take slightly longer to dry this time because it's ready to wax on it. It contains more carnauba wax. Now, carnauba comes in blocks like this. Those of a certain age will know it as something like Highland Toffee, penny chews. Very hard. It can be held against rotating work and put on. I've never had much success with that, so today I would use it with a buffing system. This is just the third mop of 3, which is the one we use the wax on, and that puts on a very good shine, which is resistant to most handling, etc. So a different cloth I use for the microcrystalline, same principle, not